The Eerie Painting. I was at the Harvest Festival with my friends. It was during the month of November. The perfect time to enjoy carnival rides and the atmosphere of cool weather. Now, being young adults, we were bored of the common rides for younger people and the mazes. So the five of us decided to go into this creepy, eerie-looking vintage shop. Apparently, the woman who worked there hardly made sales. She had a few lawsuits, but she was probably a family friend of the festival owner, and that's why she still worked there. My friends and I went into the vintage shop. "Why do you think she has lawsuits?" one of them whispered. My other friend responded, saying that she probably sold broken things. As I looked around, I decided to look up her lawsuits out of curiosity. You see, it was a common thing for me to buy things at vintage shops, so I did not mind sacrificing search time. "Nothing related to cheap objects," I said. My friend grabbed my hand. "Come on, look around." With a bored look, I saw the all too common typewriters, VHS tapes. Yes, they are sadly considered vintage now. Polaroid cameras, thrift store clothes, etc. I had the same curiosity attitude that my friends had when it came to vintage items. When I first started buying antique stuff, my house was practically filled with them now. I decided to wander away from my friends and went upstairs, leaving them. As I went upstairs, a sign read, "Questionable items." Well, there wasn't a trespassing sign, danger, or close sign. I went upstairs. As I glanced through the items, this one item seemed to summon me, and it caught my eyes. Finally, something I had not seen before. I went to glance at what appeared to be a painting. I looked through all the other vintage artworks, as art had never bored me. Then I went up to grab the painting. My friends opened the door upstairs. "I don't like the feeling up here," one of them said. Another one said, "Ew, what's that in your hands? Wouldn't you rather these vintage pictures of space?" I ignored their comment and told them they couldn't appreciate eccentricities or odd things. I took a long glance at the painting. It was a moorland, with a woman painted in a garden. She held what appeared to be her daughter's hand. She was wearing a black dress with stockings. The man only had on pantaloons, and her daughter, or the girl, wore a painting. Literally, her dress was a canvas. It was a red sunrise, and it was painted impressionist style with complementary colors. Looking through the painting, I saw that the man appeared to be aloof. "Come on, it looks cool. Everyone paints realistic or uses photographic colors," I said. "Okay, I guess it's pretty cool you like uncommon taste." As we went downstairs, we paid for the items. The woman behind the desk smiled with a wide, toothy grin. She was wearing a pinstriped dress, an odd orb necklace, and had skull earrings. "Some people really like the Halloween vibe," my friend whispered. We paid for our items, and as I put my item on the counter, she stopped smiling. "This one is free for you. I smiled for you, my sweet child, but be careful." She smiled a fearful smile. I took my painting up and looked at her strangely. My friends did the same. "Hey, I like your taste, Imani. I don't know what that was about. At least you got it for free as well. You're used to the vintage items." "Yeah." I smiled, but deeply wondered if I should have bought the painting. The lights flickered as I left with my item in hand. It was time to leave. My friends drove off, and so did I. We went our separate ways. As I was driving back home, I noticed clouds forming in the distance. "Is a storm approaching?" I thought to myself. The painting strangely seemed to be darker in colors than before. I glanced over and figured that the artist painted the image in one day because the painting was a bit incomplete looking, and the colors just seemed a bit rushed, seeing the texture. That's besides the reason I wanted to go home, so I just drove on. I quietly drove on, simply minding my business. I stopped at a gas station and went to get some gas and cigarettes. Afterwards, I sat in the car and I decided to rest for a few minutes, and I took a break. I sat there, quietly puffing away, and tapped the cigarette and let the ashes fall into the ashtray. Thump, thump, boom, bang. I heard these odd sounds as I sat in the car, but I ignored it, seeing that there was a large squirrel crawling on the windshield. I reversed out of the gas station and drove on. Driving along, hail poured down and began to pelt my car. I was dumbfounded. On the news this morning, there wasn't a report that we'd be expecting hail. I had to speed up my car because I did not want to be blinded by the impact of the hail. I was literally 5 blocks away from my house. Bang! A huge shard of glass fell to my car mat as I saw to my horror that a huge piece of hail sliced through part of my window shield. Okay, my biggest concern now wouldn't be being blind. My life was in danger. 2 more blocks to go. I ran 2 red lights and arrived at my apartment. I opened up my umbrella and quickly jumped into my house. Painting, I rested on my hands and my knees, and I saw the sky get really orange despite the fact that it wasn't sunset yet. I dialed my house phone to call my friends to tell them what happened. "What are you guys talking about?" "What are you talking about?" they responded. "Is this a joke because of my irrational fear of driving alone?" the other one responded. I ignored their comments, thinking that they were messing around as well, or maybe my specific route had just been affected. I peered out my blinds and saw that a hailstorm stopped. Relieved, I went to my kitchen to get some food. As I was looking through my cabinet, I saw that all I had were peanut seeds, a box of poppy, and 2 slices of handmade bread. Huh? I bought food recently. My kitchen was full. I was a little freaked out by this point and decided to just sleep. It had been a really long day after all. I closed my eyelids and quietly slept. Shah! I heard a woman laughing and jumped out of my bed. Sitting, I grabbed my flashlight to see a woman shuffling and looking through the corner of my bedroom. "Martha, why did you ever let her go?" Frightened, I started sweating, and I was all panicky. The woman turned ever so slightly. I rolled over in my bed and opened my eyes slowly. "Phew, it was just a dream," I whispered. Gasping for air, I looked out of my blinds to see the time, as I always preferred guessing the time based on the color of the sky. Holy moly! I saw that it was red outside. The sky was red, and the sun was a bright red color. Okay, was it a sunset or a sunrise? I decided that it would be a good time to stay at my friend's house. I was feeling a bit unnerved. It was hard to see in the dark, but I fumbled for my keys. And now, looking where the house phone was usually kept, I saw an old gramophone. I just ran out of my house at this point. Upon opening my car, I realized that I had forgotten my cell phone and the painting. I drove off now without warning, feeling an ominous sense from the red sky. To my surprise, one of my friends swerved the door open and told me to hurry up and come inside. "What is it?" I responded. She told me that a strange man had dropped off some clothes for me. "You didn't tell me you had a boyfriend." "What? Why are you pulling pranks on me? First you tell me that you didn't see the storm, and then you're telling me some stranger left clothes for me?" She shows me a suit of clothes and what appears to be pantaloons. Pushing off what I said, and I doing the same thing, we just avoided our confrontation and watched some movies. My friend fell asleep, and I tried waking up to tell her that I had to leave for work, but she wouldn't wake up. She was just out of it. Peering outside, I saw the sky was red. I shouted at my friend. She finally woke up. I told her to look at the odd appearance, and she responded telling me that she sees a normal blue sky. She dismisses me as a nutcase and tells me I need to get some rest. Angrily, I grab my stuff and I leave. On the way to work, I get a call from my coworkers. He refers me as Martha and tells me that the saloon is closed for today. A bit spooked out, I shrug it off as a sick joke and I go to work. As I drive to work, I see that the building actually isn't there. A cold chill went down my spine as I saw an 1800 saloon with a closed sign. I call my coworker again and I tell him I need a break from work. Maybe all the photography gigs were getting to me. But then he tells me I can't quit and I'm a slave, that my daughter and husband will find out my true ways. I hang up the phone now. Looking outside my car window, the building is vacated. Upon this accusation, I reported my coworker. But then the police tell me that no one with such a name works there. Frustrated, I drive home. To my surprise, the red sky is gone. I assumed it only came during sunset or sunrise, but my lawn was filled with beautiful amaranth fields and wheats. There is a beautiful vine growing out of my corridor. I tell my neighbors that the old-fashioned plants are nice, and they give me an odd stare. What is up with everyone today, I think to myself. I grab my painting without looking at it and get inside. I close my door and take a shower. Feeling rather hot with the weather today, I slept with my windows slightly open. I drift off to sleep. Wham. Wham! After a while I wake up, with beads of sweat pouring down my body, and oddly enough, I'm wearing pantaloons. I saw the time on my phone, 9:00 a.m., and the sky was its usual color, but really cloudy as if a storm passed. I remember how the painting looked, and I saw that the surroundings of my house were just like it. I turned on the light inside my house. Now it looked old-fashioned. Now, this isn't some paranormal event where one usually hears an occasional rustling sound, thumps, shudders, or sees something from the corner of their eye. No one was stalking me, and I did not see strange creatures. But I questioned, why was I wearing the man's pantaloons? And why? Had I had a dream about Martha? That's not paranormal now. That's just a freaky insight of the past. I called all of my friends to come over, not caring what happened between us. They arrived to my house. I ran out to greet them, when suddenly I looked down to see myself fully clothed in what appeared to be what the woman was wearing. We thought you stopped with the charades, they responded. Charades? Guys, all this weird stuff is happening to me, like I'm becoming the painting, or my surroundings are. I believe her, one of my friends spoke up. Why would Imani go out all of her way to pull such a far-fetched prank? See, I responded, hoping nobody would think I'm crazy. Look at the amaranth fields, and the sky is cloudy now. They looked at me in disbelief and told me that I could stay at their house, and that we could take a long vacation together. One of my friends proceeds to enter the house. The rest keep a close eye on me, half comforting me, half judging me. She comes out and tells my other friends to stay with me, and she'll be right back. We still wait inside, wishing to avoid the feeling inside my home. My friends ask me if I still see the same surroundings. I tell them that I see a man in pantaloons watching us. A bit freaked out, they still wait with me. What feels like about an hour hits us. My friend returns, and what she has in her hands is the same painting. Why didn't she return that wretched thing? They yelled. Well, I found it in the back of my trunk, and I forgot why I had it. Did you go back to the vintage shop, they said? I was halfway there, but forgot why I was going out there in the first place. But that is proof I told my friends that this stuff wasn't a joke. They stared in some belief. They told me to stay with the neighbors for safety until the thing was put away. They all confirmed that this thing is causing hallucinations or something. Before they make any movements, I run into the house. I was afraid that whoever encounters the painting directly forgets me. Running outside, I begin grabbing the painting and frantically running in circles. I see that the little girl is trying to grab my painting, and I tell my friends to protect it. Hey, if she ruins the painting, she may distort the reality even more, and things may get worse. Don't let her scratch it. All hell breaks loose. My friends may or may not have believed me, but they started kicking away at what appeared to be air to them. We all hop in a truck, but then I see the woman. Martha's trying to set my house on fire. I tell them to go on without me as I try to guard the house. We don't want you to leave in that state of mind, here and alone, they said. It's fine, please. No, what you see is just an illusion. I jump in the back of the truck. like something is compelling me to stay home, but two of my friends grab my legs, and the other one tries to tie my arms with her belt. "You've got to stay here with us," they said. My friend is driving, and the other friend is reading Google Maps so we can travel faster without missing our direction. They tear down the street without any concern for the speed limit or red lights. We finally reached a vintage shop, but my friends to tell me to stay in the car as they return with the item. I agree. Bam! An intrusive thought enters my head as I figure out that I should be the one to show up in person, considering the fact that I purchased the items. With the belt still on my hands, I run into the vintage shop and crab walk up the stairs. I bang at the door. I bang the door open and see them negotiating with the woman for them to return the painting. From what I could see, the negotiation process looked finished. I told my friends that we finally got rid of the cursed item, and they did a good job. My friends give a blank stare in front of me. Slowly, they walk as if they're going to walk into me, and the gypsy cashier woman grabs a post to hang the painting back in its place. I stare back as I'm being carried upwards, staring at the room from the perspective of the painting. My friends exit the room. My then friends. The gypsy woman just sits down, and she looks back and says, "The people in the painting change each time.